Hi, I'm Beck Lane, and this is Catalyst and Company. And just so you know, I have been painting. It's just, we have, the world's on fire, and MAGA keeps pouring gasoline on the bonfire that was our country. So, as you know, I've been, if you've been watching these videos, you know that I've been writing legislators, I've been emailing, I've been calling a little bit, mainly emailing legislators, and I'm about to start physically writing people because we need to inundate their offices with physical evidence that we exist and that we care. So I'm going to start that today. But last night I received a copy of a memorandum that came out of Tallahassee concerning street art. Now, Randy Fine, a politician here in Florida, has made it his mission to attack anyone and everyone who isn't cis white male. Last year, he wanted to have all pride flags removed from the state. And he also made it his mission to make mural art illegal. But the memorandum I received last night came out June 30th, and it pertains to sidewalk and crosswalk art. And the state is going to withhold funding to any cities or communities that don't destroy all sidewalk and crosswalk art. And the memorandum, which is memorandum number 2501, Engineering and Operations Memorandum number 25-01, is selling this under the guise of safety, that crosswalk art is distracting. Well, because I've been paying attention, I know that it has nothing to do with safety. It has everything to do with the rainbow crosswalks across the state. Randy Fine and Ron DeSantis have wanted these removed, and now they've just sent out an edict. It's an absolute order. So, it's so mind-boggling. It's not about safety, because actually sidewalks, they have found, there are studies and stuff that sidewalks that are painted, actually drivers pay attention to, but the state just wants anything that isn't cis white male removed. That's it. Cis white male nationalist removed. So yes, it's crosswalks they want destroyed, but they also want, as I said, sidewalk art. And as someone who has contributed to sidewalk art, I kind of have an insider's view, a little bit of an insider's view. As you may or may not remember, last year I did 11 sidewalk illustrations covering 15 sidewalk sections for Avenue of Art / Sarasota International Chalk Festival. There are a total of 350 illustrations, which was the goal, 350 illustrations around Burns Square. It's a neighborhood in Sarasota. They're up and down Burns Square, and the illustrations celebrate art. They celebrate Sarasota history. They celebrate different organizations and groups. It's really kind of an extraordinary feat. It's not just paint pretty pictures. They have some meaning. Mine happened to be about the public school system, about recognizing public schools, recognizing the LGBTQ community, I did put in illustrations, two sets of illustrations that say "Be kind," and that's a nod to an organization in another city that supports LGBTQ issues, because it's a long story. Anyway, there are illustrations about the Great Wade-In, where the Black community just kept going to white beaches and marching into the water, wading into the water. And those people were beaten by police until the police just got tired, until things changed. There are illustrations to M.E. Booker, Reverend and Mrs. Colson, all types of historical figures around. Colonel Gillespie, the Ringling Circus, Ringling Museum, or Ringling stuff, that kind of a thing. But now it's all going to have to be erased. It's going to have to be destroyed because of targeted hate and abuse. More targeted hate and abuse. One thing I find absolutely mind-boggling, especially in a place like this, is I know people who have been like, oh, I can't say anything. Oh, no, I have to keep myself, oh, no, safe and peaceful, and I have to go sit quietly. Fucking, really? Because it doesn't affect me, so I'm going to be quiet. I know people that this is now going to affect directly, because they haven't bothered. They've been too cowardly to speak up. Oh, I'm going out to dinner. I can't possibly write an email or call anyone. Now, I mean, we're getting to the point, we've got alligator Alcatraz going on. Like, that's not bad enough. We have all kinds of things going on in Florida that are really hateful, absolutely hateful and horrible and inhumane and disgusting. But it hasn't bothered a lot of people yet. So, because we're a red state, but now we're getting down to, it's going to start affecting more and more people. This edict actually takes it removes an underpinning to Sarasota, because Sarasota has been trying to sell itself as an art city for decades. I have made no bones about it. I think it's a big fat lie that this is an art city. This is an art fair city. This is a rehash of things that people want to see. It's just what sells here is a derivation of a derivation, or a derivation of what was once art. But it sells, and Sarasota has branded itself as an art city and has for decades, but now they're going to remove art. Now they're removing art. Removing funding for the art, removing any visual comprehension of the arts. So I guess I have no solution other than, please, if you've been writing, please keep writing. Please keep emailing. Please keep calling. Ron DeSantis doesn't care. Randy Fine doesn't care. None of these MAGA extremists care. Rick Scott does not care. What's her name? Senator Moody doesn't care. Those people don't care, but the people working under them, from the communications I've had, the people working under them, people working around them, do care. So please keep calling, please keep emailing, please keep writing as we watch our lives, our cultures, our communities descend further into utter and complete madness. I think that's the message. because in destroying like visual arts, in public visual art, it doesn't just hurt me. Which seems to be life's mission anyway, is just to keep me under its thumb. It hurts the communities the communities who have invested in the artwork, not just here in Sarasota, but St. Pete, Tallahassee, Orlando, Tampa, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, all the communities. There are hundreds, thousands of communities across the state, millions and millions and millions of people who will be affected by something this seemingly insignificant. It doesn't affect just the artist. It doesn't affect just the subject of each sidewalk illustration or each crosswalk illustration. It affects the millions of people who invested in these pieces of work, physically and financially. There are people who have contributed millions and millions of dollars to visual art in their communities. And the MAGAs don't care. It's okay. Yeah. It doesn't support this white nationalist agenda, so we're going to eradicate it. Please keep writing. Please keep calling. Please start sending out physical evidence, writing letters, physical letters. Because I understand, as I watch other people's reels from across the country, we are having an effect. ICE agents, people who have communities in LA especially, who have been coming out and protesting ICE agents as they're arresting. It's never ending. As they're arresting people off the street, communities have been coming out and screaming at and protesting and badgering ICE agents so much that ICE agents, these, I'm a big tough guy. I'm going to go play with, my little Amazon costume and my guns now. Those men are actually leaving ICE in droves. They think that keeping their faces covered blocks facial recognition. It does not. There are apps out there so that you can, so their faces are traced, and then we're able to identify them. People are able to identify them. But these people are so saddened, I guess, by public response to their, I'm a big man. I'm big. I have power over you. They're so upset by the public's response that they're quitting. So don't you quit. Don't you quit. And one more thing before I go. I forgot what it was. It was something having to do with don't quit. Oh my God, it just went out the window. Oh, I know what it was. So it seems like we have no power. But I was reminded in several other videos and several other reels and talks by people I'm watching on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube and stuff, that this same thing has happened over and over again throughout history, where a Hitler-esque figure has come into play. And, there's an entire movement behind this Hitler-esque, we will get you to conform, we will get you to stop existing movements, including in South Korea, which I was reminded of the other day. It's happened all over the world. It never ends well for these people. I don't know why they just can't acknowledge that maybe being the world's worst human beings and getting behind horrible, dangerous, deadly movements is probably not a good idea. They never remember that. But in South Korea, the people did the same thing that we're doing now. They took on a violent communist overthrow, and the same way we're doing, protesting, writing, marching, attacking in different ways, uh, powerful movements that were trying to crush them, and they overthrew. The public did it. Not politicians, but the public. Of course, I've been listening a lot to, there's no way around it, no way to avoid it, but I've been listening to podcasts about Nazism, about Hitler's Germany. You can't avoid it anymore. And it is what is coming out of Washington, D.C. is the exact same methods and playbook. It is unavoidable at this point. We can't deny it. However, as a reminder, Hitler shot himself in the head and the Nazis lost the war. We look at movement after movement after movement where nationalism has and racism and targeted hatred has tried to squelch communities and countries, and every single time the people say no and win. So let's keep up the fight. Because what once seemed as that could never happen here, it's not just happening, it's taken hold. So keep writing, keep emailing, keep calling. All right? Ciao. Ciao. I now have to talk to some people about sidewalk art when we've got alligator Alcatraz going, literal alligator Alcatraz, where these people have now been, hundreds if not thousands of people have been housed in the middle of the Sarasota swamps, surrounded by alligators and snakes, and they have very little AC, if any at all. They have almost no food. They're housed in a prison now, a tent prison, with no food. Tell me this doesn't sound like Nazi Germany. They're in bunk beds, exposed to the weather for the most part, pretty much exposed to the weather completely, intense. They're dealing with massive mosquitoes, which will spread disease and kill people. And if they get food, which apparently is once a day, it is filled with maggots. They don't have clean water. They don't have access to water. Please tell me how this is not World War II Germany. This is not Nazi Germany, or not reflective of. Tell me, please. Snatching people off the streets. God bless America.